Mossop and a honey bun. It's won by actually Darren Flanagan, who's just come onto the ground. And at three-quarter time, it's Geelong 16-9, 105 for Carlton 12-7, 79.
Three-quarter time in our match of the day, and it's the Cats by 26 points over the Blues. Geelong 16-9, 105, Carlton 12-7, 79. In other matches that we have scores on so far, three-quarter time at the MCG and Melbourne fighting back, but it's the Hawks by 20 points. Hawthorn 14-13, 97 to Melbourne 11-11, 77. Three-quarter time down at Moorabbin and Sydney doing it easily over St Kilda. Sydney 19-9, 123, St Kilda 13-8, 86. In other matches, North Melbourne just ahead of Footscray at about the 25-minute mark of the third quarter. Essendon well in front of Collingwood by about 5 goals, also into time on, and Richmond doing it easily at VFL Park over Fitzroy. OK, now for a summary of our match so far. It's back out to Lou and Peter at Princes Park.
Right, thank you, Graham. Checking the three-quarter time score, 105 to 79. The main goal kickers for Geelong. Jackson has 5, Whitcomb 3, 2 to Peake, Bright and Johnston, and for Carlton, Corker-Miller's 3, Ralph 3 and Johnston 2. Luke, and Carlton come back?
Well, I don't know. They came back in that quarter and they got within 10 points and were full of running, but you've got to give full marks to Geelong. They really bounced back, and now they've got a better lead than they had at half-time, 26 points. And with the confidence they're playing, they're going to take a lot of running down, Pete. They've got a winner at centre-half back. As a matter of fact, their entire back line's backed up well all day. They haven't made a mistake down there.
Reynoldsson, you were talking about, as Paul Jeffries comes back onto the ground. He was carried off, I thought, with a serious ankle injury, but obviously it's not as serious as it first
Well,
thought.
let's hope it's not, because he's been a pretty handy player. They've worked well together. Some of them haven't had many kicks, but that's not their job. They've been stopping their players. And, of course, Buckley and Johnson, who played very well in the first half of the game, were a little bit quieter that quarter. And, of course, they didn't have many running players. Carlton. You've got to give full marks to the Geelong running players, particularly Bruns and Neal. They've torn them apart. And I think possibly the fact that Buckley got those 2 nasty knocks might have slowed him down a bit, but that's most unusual for Jimmy, because he's one of the toughest players in football playing today. But Down on their forward line, they've had some good players too. I like the form of Johnson. There's no doubt about it. Jackson's the man that's doing the damage down there. They've got to bring 3 players on there to mind him every time he goes for the ball, which I think is a bit ridiculous sometimes. And, of course, at one stage we saw 3 of them go for the mark. And by the time they hit the deck, Whitcomb had pounced on the ball and got away for a quick, easy goal.
The noise in the crowd here is the score has gone up from Essendon, Lou, 19-12 to 9-8.
Well, that's bad news for the Magpies, and Al Potter, our director's really rubbing the dirt in there, showing me the score. But it's 19-12, and apparently up to that stage, up till half-time, young Sockeye Sam, as we call him, kicked 6 goals, but looks like he might have a bigger bag than that. And you mark my words, that boy is going to be the player to watch this year. Number 3 for Essendon. You people interstate, just keep an eye on him, because I think he's going to be the most sensational football we've seen for a long, long time.
All right, well, back to this match, and as we mentioned, Carlton certainly had the job of pegging back Geelong. It's interesting looking back through the records last year, Lou. Geelong started off the season in sensational form. They won their first 4, 5 out of the first 6. They defeated Carlton here in round 6, but of course that was the end of their run for the year, wasn't it?
Well, they did fall in a heap, but I think they've got probably a better system. And I hate to say this, I think, you know, they lost 2 players like the Nankervis brothers, and they were great players for the club. But their style of football was old-fashioned. They used to zigzag the ball over the ground, hence the name the Leyland brothers, because they went all over Australia to get the ball to the goals. And of course, Geelong, with their more direct attitude towards goal, or direct play towards goal, has made the difference to the team. They've got to use the handball. And I think if you noticed at half-time with the statistics, Pete, the handballs were far in excess of Carlton's way, weren't they? Well, it's 98 to Carlton, 60-odd to Geelong, which proves one thing, that Carlton could be overdoing their handball instead of going directly at the goals. And I always believe this, the more you handle the ball, it doesn't matter whether it's modern football or not, the more you handle it, the more chance you've got to lose it, because of the law of averages against you.
Well, I mentioned in the commentary, Lou, that their captain, Wayne Johnston, was setting a fighting example on 2 occasions. In the space of a couple of minutes, he got the ball out of the centre, kicked it long to Warren Ralph. Ralph marked and kicked a goal on both occasions. Well,
there's Tommy Hafey going off the ground. As we mentioned during the commentary, it's the most ferocious side we've seen from Geelong for a long, long time. I don't know what he's given the players, whether he's given them a feed of his tea bags or what, Pete, but it certainly lifted the team. And there's Southby, had to get him off the ground with an injury. Might have been a bit lucky getting off, because he wasn't going too well against Big Johnson at that particular time.
Big cheers for Jacko as he goes down towards the outer or scoreboard goal.
He's got an inferiority complex, Jackson. That's one thing we must say about him.
He's got 5 so far. The final quarter from Princes Park. Geelong with a handy lead. Can they hang on?